Hi, my name is George and this video is going to be a breakdown of some of the sound effects that I created for my audio redesign of the Unity 3D game kit. This video is going to be about the actual sound design, but I do have a video which focuses entirely on the technical side of this project. So if that's your thing, there's a link to it in the description. I started by creating a list of everything I would need to create sound for while playing through the game a few times. The visual style of the game is very alien but also quite cartoony. Instead of trying to match that tone, I thought it would be interesting to contrast it by designing my sounds to be hyper realistic, so basically the opposite end of the realism spectrum. Because the audio for this project was going to be implemented into an engine, I designed the most common sounds with interchangeable layers. The basic idea was to have FMOD randomly play one part of each layer every time the event is called. Here's a few examples of the Chomper's death sound effect, which has 4 layers. My favourite thing to create audio for in this project was the Chomper enemy. I love creating sounds for animals and creatures, and so the Chompers being these weird little piranha dog things was right up my street. Even though they're quite small and in-game aren't really much of a threat to the player character Ellen, they do look quite terrifying. My only rule for what belongs in the Chomper's audio palette was, does it fit the hyperreal theme, or in other words, does it make the Chomper sound scary, and as long as it did, I used it. I kept my processing and effects to a minimum for the Chomper because I wanted to keep the audio as natural and real as possible. If Chompers were meant to be scary, then the Grenadier was supposed to be super scary. Designing audio for the Grenadier was challenging because it appears to be machinery created by someone, unlike the Chompers which are native to the game's world. I started by recording myself, voicing how I imagined the sound in my head. I used the recordings as sketches and filled in the gaps using an audio palette I built up from synthesized and heavily processed sounds. The Grenadier's sound design was all about using layers to create a sense of size and threat. Here's a breakdown of its footsteps, which has a total of 6 layers. My favourite part of the Grenadier sounds is the vocalisations it makes, which were originally recordings of stressed metal. These were heavily inspired by the cries of a Big Daddy from BioShock. While I was designing audio for the ambiences, I kept in mind that environmental sounds communicate a lot of information to the player about the characteristics of their location. The swamp, for example, was designed to sound busy and teeming with life. To contrast this, the arena is much windier and features a smaller variety of wildlife, the idea being that it is much less inhabitable. I kept the UI sounds short and sweet for this project and used a synthesizer to provide the main body of the sound. The modulation on the synth patch meant that when I bounced out individual notes, they had subtly different tonal qualities, which stops the menu sounds from becoming fatiguing. When you open and close the menu, there are some rock scraping sounds combined with the synth texture, which give it a different feel to the other UI sounds. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. Hopefully it's explained some of the thought processes and creative choices that went into redesigning the audio for the 3D game kit. If you liked this video and wanted to learn more, then I have a video on my channel showing off the technical side for this project, as well as a full walkthrough of the game.